And welcome back to another wonderful episode of the Convoluted Podcast. It's your host, Liz. I'm with Tyrant, Dominus, aka Jesus. And if it's your first time listening, always subscribe and listen to us much, much more. Or you could just not. What's that called? We're not going to make you, but we would appreciate it. How are you doing, Jesus?
I'm doing good. Been more hectic of a week than I was hoping for. It's one of those things where we're planning for February. We have a lot of things for, at least you and me have a lot of plans, but I also have a few other things. So the end of my January, can you believe we already at the end of the month is gone? January's gone. Felt like forever, didn't it? Didn't it?
I know. And what did I say? I saw the meme as a perpetual Monday, right?
That's what it felt like.
It was a perpetual Monday.
That's what it felt like. So I really had no chance to do some of the tasks that I wanted to do. And anytime I finally had a moment, I was just too tired or exhausted to, everyone knows this feeling. Like, you have things to do. Some things come up. You have to do. You do them. And then when it's time to actually do the main task that you've been wanting to do, you just don't have the motivation to do it. And that's kind of where I've been for at least the last week. Not negative, more disheartening, disheartening.
And look at that shit.
So yeah, that's been my week. How about yourself?
I get it. It was a great week up to a point. I mean, I get it and I don't get it sometimes. Whatever. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but it was kind of one of those weeks that, like you were saying, it was like you having enough energy to do one task and then doing another task instead. Exactly how I feel right now. I mean, what do you do, right? You just move on. But it ended. It's ended on a solid note, to an extent. But that's okay. That's okay.
Emotional damage.
I feel like my energy levels are coming back a little bit back to normal, so that's a good thing. So,
bruh.
All right, there we go. That's kind of our little update of ours. It's January is literally just 2023 2.0. Feels like it. Like we mentioned this, we're not going to reiterate any of that. It's just trying to continue on, because you can't erase what happened last year. It's just moving forward from last year's baggage and just making me move on. But it is what it is, and we try to prosper as much as we can, alone and together. So, but yeah, that's kind of really it. But we do have a fun couple good stories, some wild ones, some sad ones, some interesting ones. As always, this show brings you some of the weirdest news stories that's happened in the past week or two that we have accumulated. But yeah, so Liz has our first story for the day.
We're gonna come local, y'all. Come local to the Portland to the Northwest, Pacific Northwest, and yeah, you're gonna enjoy the story. I thought this was just humorous. I thought it was very comical. I cannot wait to share it with you. A story: a man tries to burn down couple's home because of vampires.
Of vampires.
Yes, apparently they still exist.
Okay, continue.
Or we think they still exist. In a story, a man is facing arson and other charges after allegedly trying to burn down a home after spray painting it with black crosses because voices told him it contained vampires.
Are you out of your mind?
The Astoria Police Department was called to a multi-unit rental house at 66 West Bond Street on January 26 on a report of criminal trespass. The owner of the property had found minor fire damage inside the front porch, and as well as a collection of personal items that did not belong to anyone living in the building. A few days later, on January 30th at 2:10 a.m., the Astoria Fire Department was called to a residential structural fire at the same location. Witnesses reported a person standing outside the burning house warming its hands as if it was a campfire. Just that image, okay?
Damn.
Warming your hands, that's right there. Like, oh, this feels great. I'm not burning a house.
That is wild. We've talked about individuals doing some wild things, you know. It's one of those things where they go into this level of what's the best way to put it? Like psychosis or schizophrenia, where it's just like just like wild fantasies. And I don't know if the article says anything about their mental state, but just the plain thought of someone doing something outrageous for a mythological creature because they saw like vampires, werewolves, or demons. It's crazy, mostly when it's affecting people's property and stuff like that, or people in general.
Yeah.
It's more on the lighter note, but
is crazy.
It is on the lighter note. Wait, was anyone harmed to your knowledge?
No, they were displaced. The couple that lived at the place was displaced.
Oh, but that still sucks.
He was giving a home and stuff, and then eventually he said he lighting a candle to keep warm.
Bruh.
And then the voices told him vampires lived in the house.
Goddamn. So sadly, some people lost their home or has been displaced from their home. Sadly, that's rough. Mostly in this current time, and since it's up here in the Pacific Northwest, it's still pretty chilly. So you don't know what's gonna happen. I know most insurance agencies do kind of like have a clause in their stuff where they're able to give the insurer like some hotel quote vouchers.
I thought it was a rental property, so like I hope they had renters insurance.
A lot of people don't.
Yeah. I know they don't, but if they did, that would have been beneficial. They would have been able to not have to pay so much out of their own pockets.
Yeah, I'm surprised people, like a lot of people don't realize it. I know when you're supposed to, when you're renting a place, they ask for some places ask for rental insurance, and a lot of people just don't. And sometimes like, oh yeah, I'm saving like an extra $100 or $200 a month, and mostly in this economy, that's a life savings right now. And it's like sometimes you technically don't really need it, but it's a net, right? The insurance is a net just in case of a caution, stuff like that. For the most part, with at least home and car insurance, it's like a requirement. At least it's the law. Is it the law to have house insurance? I don't know actually.
Most places, most condominium spaces should have insurance, but it actually is a good idea if you own a home to have insurance, because if you have something that goes wrong, you can go back on it. Like we have it for our place. I mean, it was a $500 deductible, but we're getting it replaced.
Oh yeah, with your situation happened, like that's where you're like, I'm glad I have insurance.
Exactly. So,
see, that's where the net.
Now we own the walls in. It's nice to have something like, oh, somebody's gonna be able to take care of this. This is not gonna be like a stressful event. This is not gonna be costing us $1 million a pocket. You know what I mean? Really, not million, but it feels like that.
It feels like that, right?
Sometimes.
Yes. But at least, hopefully for this couple, they did. If not, there's the next level of stress that comes along with it. Because of some deranged individual. That's the disappointment. It's just like when outside forces disturb your inside forces, you know? That's what sucks. Mm-hmm. But continuing on with kind of just the state of the people and stuff like that, let's talk about someone you wouldn't think would come along and help with this is Elmo from Sesame Street.
What is Elmo doing?
So Elmo is doing wellness checks and uncovers existential dread and despair on social media.
Oh, jeez.
So Thousands of people are unloading their life's problems on Elmo this week after the Red Puppet posted a casual question on X/Twitter, and all he posted was, "Elmo is just checking in. How is everybody doing?" What would you have responded to this, Liz? How is everything? How are you doing? What would you have told Elmo?
I would say tumultuous. I would say tumultuous. It's been a tumultuous week, so I feel like that would be like my comment. Be like, it's been tumultuous. I wish there was something consistent and you know.
So I'm gonna just open this on the side window really, just so have that ready for later. In fact, the question, which was posted on X on Monday, opened the floodgates to a deluge of internet users eager to vent their children's show character that had somehow signed himself to be the internet's newest therapist. And quote, "Elmo, I'm so..."
You'd be a great therapist, okay? You'd be a great therapist.
I don't know. Elmo is a child. Elmo, quote, "Elmo, I'm suffering from existential dread over here," end quote. And another one said, quote, "Every morning I cannot wait to go back to sleep. Every Monday I cannot wait for Friday to come," end quote. Oh, it still continues. "Every single day, every single week for life." Damn, that's a lot.
That's brutal.
That's brutal. Even some celebrities joined in on the collective grievances airing. Actor Rachel Ziegler said, "Resisting the urge to tell Elmo that I'm kind of sad. Some joke that such a massive trauma dump must be too much for the poor puppet to handle. All Elmo did was ask a simple question, but the responses were so overwhelming that Sesame Street's official X account /Twitter account shared a link to mental health resources, which we'll do as well, because it's one of those things where it doesn't hurt to. In these times, holidays did that, and then kind of just this time of year, the new year. And just overall, we've brought up a lot of situations about people. Just like we just did the article that we just did about the couple. Like they could probably be suffering through this, no matter what. They lost their place to live. Aaron is it Beisman, the vice president of audience development on Sesame Workshop, said that the grown-ups helping Elmo and other characters from the show with their social media accounts are cognizant of the relationship that the audience have developed with them over the last 54 years. Many of our social posts are designed to make the audience smile or laugh, and while others promote and share resources for kids, children, and their parents, caregivers, and loved ones who make up their circles of care. Leveraging the interest of Elmo's tweet was posting the quote tweet from Sesame with emotional well-being resources, is exactly what Sesame Workshop was created to do. Still, the Muppets appear to be trying their best to keep up. While Elmo is glad to be, he asked Elmo learn that it is important to ask a friend how they're doing. He wrote in a follow-up post, "Elmo will check in again soon, friends. Elmo loves you." Hashtag emotional well-being. And we can kind of go through some of the tweets in a little bit, but yeah, what are your thoughts? Kind of how one single tweet from a beloved Muppet character just kind of blew up. What are your thoughts?
Well, the fact that we're comfortable with Elmo, it's really funny because, Elmo's been around for us, like they said, 54 years, and we're willing to open up to a red puppet and say, hey, things are not great. It's a dumpster fire. Every day is a dumpster fire, apparently. And it is true. I feel like that is so true. We get to the point where we just go look at this red puppet and go, yeah, I'm just going to unload on this red puppet. Today's the day. You ask, I'm going to tell you.
Yeah, sometimes that sometimes you do with some close friends, some close family. Because sometimes all you need is to vent. Sometimes that's the simplest thing to do, because yeah, seeking professional help is one of the best way to do it. But sometimes just letting it out instead of bottling it in doesn't hurt. So
not everybody can afford a professional help.
Oh yeah, that's the thing.
I like just cover it, and if they do, they only cover it like once a month. I'm thankful for mine that I can get it almost weekly.
It's one of those things where I was joking with my family the other day. It's like, even though America is one of the best countries to live in, and so it still is, surprisingly, it's still one of the places where to be just healthy with body, mind, it costs literally an arm and a leg. And yeah.
Touché.
Beside that, yeah, the trauma jump was real. Well, I'm gonna go through some of them. Actually, you want me to post a link too? You can catch any that caught your eye. Wait 1 second. Sure. I'm gonna post the link. But here's the quote that we've read this one the everyday morning. Let's see here. We have one from @Woshingo. I'm at my lowest. Thanks for asking. Damn.
I don't think it's gonna let me.
Okay, I'll go through some of these. I did not have all of us trauma dumping on Elmo on my bingo card for 2024. That is funny, actually.
That's awesome. Give that guy props.
Yeah. Elmo, we are tired. Yes, I agree with that one. Another one from Stephen McMarney. The world is burning around us, Elmo. Kind of feels like that sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is a hard one for some people. This is from Dave McName 3000. His wife left him. His daughters don't respect him. His job is a joke. Any more questions?
Oh, ouch! I felt hurt, man. I felt the pain.
Let's see what else is happening here. What else is happening? There's an image of a GIF of just a person going to work and going to sleep. That's it. That's what it feels like sometimes, doesn't it? You get up.
Yeah, it definitely does that. Get up, do the work,
go to bed,
go back to bed, do it all over again. It feels like that sometimes. I definitely agree with that.
Let's see here. What else is around here? This is the one that caught someone. This is like I said, some celebrities. This is from Chance the Rapper. He said, honestly, I'm in a really good place right now. And that's good. You know, that's one of those things, like, it's not all bad. Some people are in a decent space, some people more than others. But definitely it's not all bad. Let's see here. Oh God, some marketing here from the Garfield movie. Since this was posted back on Monday, well, it's a Monday. Oh God, Garfield movie. And then the Ritz Crackers Twitter account. Maybe it's best if you save this question for a different time.
Oh snap!
Oh, this one from Paddington. The account. The Paddington Bear account.
Paddington the Bear?
Yes.
Okay.
Dear Elmo, it was kind of you to check in on all your friends this week. I've been busy making a lot of marmalade. How are you doing? That's sweet. Even though it's just 2 social media accounts going, it's just like the idea. Oh my God, the Oreo. The Oreo cookie account.
What did Oreo do?
Ran out of milk. Do the math.
Oh, damn.
Okay, here's some of the more like people-oriented ones. Elmo, I just got laid off. Oh, I found the.
Yeah, it is so common nowadays that everybody's being laid off.
Yeah, we've talked about the multiple layoffs, mostly in the what is it, the tech industry, that sector of the market. It's just like layoff after layoff after layoff. But I found I'm suffering from existential dread comment. What else is there? Let's see, what else is. For the most part, I could see that. But yeah, it's more funny when I'm going through some of these. It's more of the other social media accounts from other brands have a little bit more of a jokey thing, while more of the public ones are kind of like more real, I would say, you know, that's one of those things. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now. It's just it's one of those things where just people are just really bad or really in a bad place. I don't blame them. I don't blame them. You know, but we talked about it. It's just it is rough right now. And for anyone out there, just ask for help when if possible. You know, it's find a friend. There are resources. The resources that the what was it? The resources that were posted on the Sesame Street account. I'll be posting them on the link below as well to share them. Because yeah, it's one of those things where it's rough out there, and we
rough out there.
And we bring these stories of like craziness, like the vampire stories, but there's real people behind them. So be well out there. We are here every weekend. Now the episode's coming out at Sundays at noon, not at midnight. It seems easier for more people to find out the episodes go live on noon now. So if anyone's been wondering, yeah, they come out at noon, as long as everything goes well around editing. But yeah, that's that. Is there anything else you want to put 2 cents on that, Liz?
No, I'm here. Just talk to me. I love talking. I love to vent. You can vent at me. I don't care. I will try and relate. If I can't, I will be in here. I don't care. I will be here. So, look me up if you need me. I'm there. I'm always there.
All right, Liz will be your Elmo.
I'll be your Elmo. Not red, but that's okay.
Okay, let's continue with another wild story that kind of caught my attention. Do you want to read it, or do you want me to get this one? It's about the dog owner.
No, I'll read it.
Go for it.
Dog owner clings to car hood as alleged thieves drive away with her French bulldog. Wow. Damn. An incident occurred on January 18th and is now being investigated by detectives for the Los Angeles Police Department. A woman was clung to a car hood to save her beloved French dog has gotten the attention of the Los Angeles Police Department after going viral. I'm going to mutilate the last name. Ali Zacharias told KTLA that she was eating lunch outside on Los Angeles Whole Foods with her dog Onyx on January 18 when a woman she didn't know grabbed his leash and began walking away. I didn't think about somebody was stealing my dog. I thought it was a misunderstanding. So I said, "That's my dog, excuse me." And she wasn't listening. Zacharias Ali told the news station. After I will follow the woman to a white Kia Forte four-door sedan. He pushed her out the doors and locked her out, leading Zacharias Ali to jump on top of the hood in an attempt to stop from leaving. Ali told the KTLA that she remembered seeing 4 people inside the car and called it going faster and faster. Harrison Presley told the Los Angeles Times that he was heading home and heard the screeching of a car and screaming, prompting him to begin filming the now viral video of Ali clinging to the car hood of the car speeds off. Wow.
Damn, that's okay. Before you keep reading, that's wild. It's like one of those things where you're just having like a luncheon somewhere. You're with your puppers, and out of nowhere, just someone snags them. That is wild. Like, what would you do in that situation?
I'd probably do the same thing. I would not hesitate. You know. As my dog is my family, and I absolutely love and adore him, even though sometimes he could be a shithead sometimes. But we all love our dogs. I mean, they're part of the family. So I totally get it. I mean, and I honestly know why Frenchies have been stolen too. But it sucks. It really sucks. It really does exist out there. We don't want to think about it, but it does.
All right, continue then.
Pesci told the news organization the vehicle driver had slammed on the brakes and was literally trying to throw Ali off the car. Ali eventually off the vehicle and got away with Onyx. She was later treated by the LA Fire Department for minor abrasions, according to LAPD. Ali told KTL she's offering a reward for the safe return, describing him as a black Merle French bulldog with a spotted coat and different colored eyes, whom she considers her child. The LAPD has identified 2 suspects per the release. One suspect is described as a black woman, is approximately 25 years old, wearing a gray hoodie, purple sweatpants, and black shoes. The other is described as a black male, also about 25 years old.
Okay. Yeah, it's one of those things.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay. And there are a couple updates. She's been scammed a couple times already because she's for the rewards and stuff like that. And it's one of those things where she might not get her dog back with the rinks these have. These are like rinks of people stealing at dogs and stuff like that for breeding and malicious purposes and stuff like that. And that's what
stealing because they want it. There's a bigger bidder, you know.
That too. But from what I've continued to read from follow-ups, there's a rink that's happening. There's been multiple thefts of these breeds of dogs and similar style dogs in that area. So yeah, sadly, most of those incidents also have not been found. So I'm sad to say we will not see, what's his name?
Onyx.
We will not see Onyx anytime soon.
Oh, I'm gonna miss Onyx already. He's a cute little guy.
Yeah, it's disappointing. It's one of those things where it's hard to keep, even be willing to go out for a lunch with your dog without the fear of it being kidnapped, basically, you know?
Emotional damage.
It's just, God, this is the world. And people wonder why people are venting to Elmo, right?
Yeah, no kidding. I feel for Elmo.
So yeah, it's
Bruh.
it's disappointing. I wish the best for Emily. What's her name?
Allie.
I wish the best for Allie and all the victims of these styles of crime, because most of the time they're not gonna get it back, and that's what's disappointing. That's a sad thing. Like I don't know how you could continue after that. It is sad. So, any thoughts, Liz, as a dog owner yourself?
I hope one of these dogs turn on these people that steal these. I hope those dogs actually do. I'll attack them and maul them to death. Maybe we can get back to the homeowners. So that would be awesome. Dogs would be like, yeah, these are my owners. Attack!
All right, let's continue on then. Here we go. This is the one wild story that caught me. We've just been wild on wild. So a man's arrested after a video they posted showed a severed head of his father. Yep. And police say, and the political rant that stayed online for hours.
Jesus.
So yeah,
man.
So yeah. So it's it is not a simple story. Give me 1 second here. So a man accused of decapitating his father and showing the federal workers severed head during the political charge tirade online is charged with murder after he was arrested with a gun at National Guard base, according to official and court documents. The gruesome video circulated for hours on YouTube. Ooh, it was on YouTube, garnering more than 5,000 views before it was taken down. Justin Mon, yeah, whatever, it doesn't really matter, is now being held without bond and is charged abuse of a corpse and other crimes, and Pennsylvania court documents show. During the online debauchery, the tribe, yeah. What was this guy's name again? Justin. Why can't I read? Railed against the Biden administration and the border crisis while declaring himself as a new acting U.S. president under the martial law. Describing his father as a traitor. That the victim of Michael worked for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Oh my God, the ad. Where is it? Army of the Philadelphia District. The video was removed over the graphic violence. Yeah, I would think having a severed head next to you is The horrifying case that comes and amidst the fraud of national political environment as social media executives who are grilled Wednesday. Ooh, actually, this could lead to a good transition because I have a video we want to watch because it also continues from what we were talking about last week too. Got grilled Wednesday out by Congress have been under fire for allowing graphic and sometimes violent videos to be posted on their and remain on their sites. And bigger picture, extreme concerning, I think, as we go into what will be an incredibly heated political season. We will not be covering that, but for sure, it's going to be a wild ride this year. So okay, before we continue, what are your thoughts of just hearing this gruesome tale?
I feel sorry for the guy whose head got chopped off. Like, I don't know how, but
Michael, the father.
Yeah. That's gruesome. That's gross. I don't know why would you, but if you're not mentally healthy, that could understand why this would have led to a head chopping off. But I feel sorry for the victim. I mean, that sucks to be taking your life by your own child. Here's a machete to your head.
Yeah, it's kind of
I'm gonna show it to the world. Are you good with that, Dad? No, it's my life, man. It's my life.
So how did this? Yeah, I know, right? So how did this grisly discovery unfold? So in Middleton Township Police were dispatched at 7 p.m. Tuesday after a report of a deceased male. The Bucks County District Attorney's Office said the call to the emergency dispatcher from the victim's wife, so his mother. When the officers arrived, they located the male deceased in the bathroom, and the end quote, the prosecutor's office said. In the statement, the victim's adult son was not present when the police arrived and left the area in his father's vehicle. So the son ran away. So Justin ran away. Was it Justin? Yeah, Justin. Justin ran away. A machete and a large kitchen knife was found in the bathtub, according to the probable cause advocate obtained.
Affidavit.
The officers also located the deceased male's head inside of a plastic bag, which was inside of a cooking pot in the first floor bathroom next to the bathroom. Goddamn. In the affidavit, the police cited that the video posted on YouTube by Justin, the son of the victim and alleged killer. In it, the man identified himself as, I'm not going to pronounce his last name, apparently reads from a written statement and at one point holds up what appears to be a bloodied head inside a clear plastic bag. He says his father, who was a federal employee for 20 years, was a traitor to his country. Quote, America is rotting from the inside out as far left woke mob rampage our once prosperous cities, end quote. Investigators also found a clear rubber gloves that appeared to be bloodied on them. After viewing the YouTube videos, investigators confirmed that the gloves, the decapitated head, and the room are the same as depicted in the video. YouTube, in a statement Wednesday, told CNN it has strict policies prohibiting graphic violence and violent extremism. The video was removed for violating our graphic policies. Yeah, we get that. We get YouTube. Nope. YouTube bad for that. After fleeing the home, Justin drove more than 100 miles, then broke into a Pennsylvania National Guard base with a gun, and State Department military and veteran affairs spokesman Angeli told. Wow, he's going wild here.
Yeah.
He was taken into custody. What else? He was armed at the time, but did not resist the arrest. It is unclear what connections, if any, Justin had to the base. He was not in the National Guard. It is not clear whether Justin has an attorney. CNN has reached out. Okay, what else? The victim of the employer is deeply saddened about the tragic death of his teammate, Michael, the father and husband. The Army Corps engineer has written in statements. He has served our geo-environment section. Our thoughts and prayers are with the family, and we are focused on supporting our grieving employees at this time. Okay, before we continue to the next part. Wow, that is wild. So, it's one of those things where you can find a lot of wild stuff online. if you look for it, or if you suddenly just bump into it randomly, you never know. You and me both know that with scrolling through TikTok, through Instagram, through Facebook, through just a scrolling thing, you just never know what you get popped up. And more than likely, since it was uploaded to YouTube, whoever found the video of this, it's probably there's made copies. So if I wouldn't recommend.
Oh yeah, I was like, no, there's a copy of it somewhere. It's not taken down completely. Somebody has it.
Someone has, multiple people have it, and it's probably somewhere. But it's one of those things because it was seen. It's for sure the government has a copy of it because it's evidence, right? That at least is, but it's sad. We'll probably see in the next section what kind of the thoughts of Justin may potentially were, but it sounds like he was not happy with the situation, and just kind of took it against his father, who was a member of not a federal employee who, for the most part, is serving the government to an extent. But it's saddening. So let's continue.
Absolutely.
So an ex-roommate for Justin, Justin thought the government was after him for years. What the heck? Oh God, what is happening here?
Bruh.
As far as back as 2016, Justin had shown signs of paranoia and believed that the government had been out to get him, his former roommate said. Oh my God. So Justin and Davis met back in 2016 when they were assigned to be roommates at the University of Colorado. Quote, even back then, he had a very clear issue. He would always talk about how the government was out to get him, and it was always like this vague story about it. He would never give specific examples. He would tell me these stories that always seemed exaggerated. It was so hard to take anything he was saying seriously or know what he was saying the truth about. I thought he was just a weird kid who had some issues, but obviously wasn't thinking he would do this or was dangerous. End quote. Davis said they first lived in the student housing for a few months before moving into an apartment off campus for 6 months. Quote, at one point he had a hysterical fit and smashed the apartment. Whew. I wasn't home when he did it, so I don't know what triggered it, but he had a long conversation after that, and he told me that he had undiagnosed PTS. He reported this to property management, moved to November 26th. So moved a couple months after that. Okay, before we continue. Okay, that's wild. It's one of the things like there's signs, right? Like, what do you do when you have...
there's always signs that lead up to this shit. I mean, that sounds like he was developing schizophrenia. So
yeah, it's one of the things like some people like you can tell that's a weird thing. Like you can like tell like person gonna lose it potentially and do something wild, right? And you don't want to think like that, but you just never know. Just never know.
You never know these days, exactly.
So
you just think, oh, they're harmless. They're just going off these tyrant raids and rants and blah blah blah.
The next thing you know, they're cut.
They are.
They cut off their father's heads. Okay, as authorities work to understand the motive behind the alleged crime, quote, you can make some assumptions based on his claims in the video that was been motivated by politics. The bigger picture here is that another example of the fact that this kind of overheated, deeply politicized, extreme rhetoric that you hear sometimes in the country from politically elected officials and leaders actually has an impact on the marginalized people with extremist views who might be driven to embark in acts of violence. Some of these things have said on the video, alleging referring to woke mobs and things like that. It is not dissimilar from rhetoric that you hear from some politicians that were heard recently in the premiere season. So this kind of language has an effect on the most vulnerable, most potentially dangerous part of our population, and I think it's something that most security officials are really concerned about, end quote. definitely some people it can get really wild.
I think every 4 years we have some sort of crazy story, as every political season does, and it just seems like it never ends, right?
Exactly. And with the way social media like flows and stuff like that, it's just like it's kind of how it is. And just the way it gets delivered, you fall into these pocket circles and stuff like that. It is detrimental and can be very volatile, as we read in the story. Am I right?
And look at that shit.
Definitely. That's crazy. I mean, you always hear some crazy stories, but and you know they happen every year, but like it seems like it always seems up or ante up with every 4 years, right?
Exactly. All right, everyone. Continuing on, kind of with this social media kind of fiasco. Let's give us a moment, and we're going to be bringing up, kind of also continuing on our Discord talk from last week. We're back, everyone. All right, let's continue.
We protect children online? Are we failing them right now? Who is responsible? Those are just some of the big questions at the center of yesterday's Senate hearing, which you can watch, but I will warn you, it is a 4-hour hearing. But lucky for you,
we are not going to be watching a 4-hour hearing, but sometime.
I hope not, because we're not done for that.
Exactly. It's one of those things like, here's the other thing. We're not political stuff, like when it comes to the show, but it's one of those things like, this is the other problem. It's like, people don't really have the time to spend 4 hours. Like the average Joe, the average Jane does not have time to listen to a 4-hour session that is happening so hopefully with the help of Philip DeFranco, and we can kind of enlighten you guys as we can enlighten each other a little bit.
we're going to break down some key highlights. So let's paint the picture. You had 5 big tech CEOs appearing before the Senate Judiciary Committee, where they were having a hearing about online child safety. You had Meta's Mark Zuckerberg, TikTok's Shou Chew, X's Linda Yaccarino, Snap's Evan Spiegel, and Discord's Jason Citron. Right, and all those platforms have been accused of facilitating child exploitation despite their very public promises to crack down on it. Also, you may...
So, did you know about any of this happening?
I saw an article. I actually posted on Discord. I was hoping that we talked about it, but apparently we're going to be talking about it anyway. So I kind of had a brief idea of it. Yeah.
Okay.
May have noticed YouTube wasn't there, which you might find odd because they have their own share of controversy regarding child safety on their platform. With that, you had a spokesperson for the Senate committee saying, hey, these 5 companies were picked because they have a diverse set of products and they take several approaches to policing child sex material. But notably adding, there are no heroes in this space. There are, sadly, a laundry list of company CEOs that could sit at the witness table. Just because a company is not testifying does not mean they are off the hook. So going back to YouTube, their CEO, Neil Mohan, should be thankful he was not one of these 5. Because you could tell right out the gate, this was going to be a mixture of like understandable grilling and circus. I mean, this is one of the few topics where you have people on both sides of the aisle angry and actually at the same thing. And I mean, hell, 3 of them didn't even want to be there. With Senator Durbin making note at the beginning that only Chew and Zuckerberg were there voluntarily. Citron, Spiegel, and Yaccarino had to be hit with subpoenas. How U.S. Marshals had to get involved with the CEO of Discord. At one point, you had Senator Lindsey Graham saying,
Mr. Zuckerberg, you and the companies before us, I know you don't mean it to be so, but you have blood on your hands.
That is a strong statement.
Bruh.
That is so true, though. I mean,
You agree?
if you think about it,
Okay. Continue then.
they created this platform. There's gonna be repercussions. There's not gonna be risk. I mean, it's all calculated, right?
You have a product. You have a product that's killing people.
what was wild is even though they were the 2 that were there voluntarily, Zuckerberg and Chew took the most heat, right? Both of them getting absolutely grilled regarding the number of abuse incidents on their platform. And all of that was playing out while you had the parents of the children whose deaths have been tied to social media, either through drugs or harassment or other threats, filling out the audience with photos of their children reacting to what was happening in front of them live. And at one point, you even had Senator Josh Hawley pushing and prodding Zuckerberg into a public statement to those parents right there.
So let me ask you this. There's families of victims here today. Have you apologized to the victims? Would you like to do so now? Well, they're here. You're on national television. Would you like now to apologize to the victims who have been harmed by your product? Show them the pictures. Would you like to apologize for what you've done to these good people?
I'm sorry for everything that you have all gone through. It's terrible. No one should have to go through the things that your families have suffered. And this is why we invest so much and are going to continue doing industry-leading efforts to make sure that no one has to go through the types of things that your families have had to suffer.
For a number, that apology.
Okay, what are your thoughts? Well, let's pause a little here. What are your thoughts on this?
Try harder. That's all I gotta say. He's gotta try harder. I mean, this has been going on for years, and they've been forewarned about this. This is not like something that wasn't not gonna happen. It's going to happen. I mean, they should have had this start up as soon as it started to come up. I'm like, okay, they should have been, because you have like a way to say, hey, I think my account's been hacked, or I've been, my account. I've been harassed by this person. There's no way. I mean, I was harassed by a person on the last one, MySpace, if you recall, and they continuously made a new one and were able to continue to harass me, even though I kept blocking them. So there was like no stop. So where are we gonna have the stop? Where are we gonna put the pause at things, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those things where at the beginning they could not have imagined how vastly has grown. Maybe some of the also more newer social medias don't really have that level of excuse, but some of the the older ones, let me rephrase that, the older ones like the MySpaces, the Facebook, at least for this, at least the MySpace, the gravity of how large it grew and how much it became a everyday thing, because almost everyone and their grandmothers had a Facebook, and they still do at this point. Because that's how most of the older generations use Facebook than I do. Like, I think we've transitioned away from that to Discord actually, and that's kind of
us, yes, in general. But yeah, my other ways I keep up with my family through all the other internet, because I can't keep up with them. I don't have time to call every single relative every month. I don't. I really don't. I'll be thankful if I get 15 minutes with them. Thankful.
But then the other thing is the people don't know what the potential fallout could be. Like you were not expecting that. You're a site where you're supposed to be with your friends and family, then becomes a harassment campaign that could lead to detrimental effects in people's lives, and the loss of lives, and the way it affects people's psyche and stuff like that. That's a sad thing.
Absolutely.
So, any other thoughts before we continue?
Nope. I hope they just.
Apology fell
I hope
short.
they act on it.
We'll find out.
Like one mom whose son committed suicide after being sexually exploited on Facebook Messenger, she told the New York Times that she's been waiting 2 years for a response from Meta about his death, saying the companies are not doing enough talking. And TikTok also faced a number of inquiries regarding their connection with China, though it also resulted in moments where you had the CEO having to repeatedly remind senators that he himself is not Chinese.
Of what nation are you a citizen?
Singapore.
Are you a citizen of any other nation?
No, Senator.
Have you ever applied for Chinese citizenship?
Senator, I served my nation
I'm
in
asking-
Singapore. No, I did not.
Do you have a Singaporean passport?
Yes, and I served my military for two and a half years in Singapore.
Do you have any other passports from any other nations?
No, Senator.
Have you ever been a member of the Chinese Communist Party?
Senator, I'm Singaporean. No.
Have you ever been associated or affiliated with the Chinese Communist Party?
No, Senator.
Yeah.
Again, I'm
Okay.
Singaporean.
Also, a major topic of this conversation.
It's one of those things where like after a couple ones, you can keep hitting them and then try to get the oh, I got him moment, but sometimes like this is not the point,
It's not the place to be doing this. It's not really. This does not apply to what needs to be talked about. It doesn't matter about anybody's race or citizenship. It's the problem at hand. Not that. That is not the problem.
That is that's its own other problem. Like, let's deal with this problem.
That's a separate thing. That's not the problem that they were talking about at that moment in time. That was a different session for a different time.
So I can see why because they have him in the chair, and it's like him and Mark Zuckerberg both volunteered to be here. It's funny that those are the two who volunteered, and like Phil said, they got hit the worst. Because it's one of those things where I don't. It's not that I don't want to. It's just I just don't have the time to sit through a 4-hour video of that. I can't deal with that. So I'm hoping we get for the most part, most of the kind of the bullet points of what we need. But it's just God. There's more things to talk about than things like that.
During the hearing was whether these CEOs would support proposed legislation like the Kids Online Safety Act, or KOSA, which would notably require online services like social media platforms or messaging sites to take, quote, reasonable measures to prevent harm to kids on their sites. And harm here including things like online bullying, harassment, sexual exploitation, self-harm, and predatory marketing. And while 2 of the 5 there did express support for KOSA, Zuckerberg, Chu, and Citron did not. Instead arguing that while the direction is good, saying that KOSA has some really broad restrictions that may go against free speech on their platform. And notably, the CEOs aren't the only one who have taken issue with KOSA.
What are your thoughts of that?
Well, who was the company? I couldn't hear it.
Oh, I can rewind. I'll rewind it.
With many teens, they go against when Citron did self-harm and predatory marketing. And while 2 of the 5 there did express support for KOSA, Zuckerberg, Chu, and Citron did not. Instead,
so Facebook, TikTok, and Discord did not agree.
Did not agree. Well, that's pretty shameful. I know that they're saying, it goes against their, freedom of speech, but that is not freedom of speech. That's pretty much predatory harm. Like, they're willing to have that on there.
That's what it sounds like. That's how you could interpret it. But it's one of those things where we were talking before, like last week, at least as far as Discord, is like, what can you acquire? Like, what can you do to restrict people from? Because we could have like a 18 plus server on our thing where it's just like all the profanity and we can just say what we want, post what we want, right? But for the most part, at least the server we have, it's pretty PG-13. So it's it's not like people posting like furry porn or anything of that nature. It's just like, oh, here's a movie that's coming out, or here's a trailer for a TV show. It's things like that, and it's one of those things where
our podcast, or we broadcast
exactly like, oh, here the new episode gets released and things like that, and it's not. But then there are definitely sites where it's like you can just post anything, and there's no real filter. So I think that's where it gets where it's like, what can and can't you do? That's kind of my interpretation. But let's continue and see. Hopefully, if there was some sort of conclusion, because knowing the government, there's probably not.
Yeah.
Arguing that while the direction is good, saying that KOSA has some really broad restrictions that may go against free speech on their platform. And notably, the CEOs aren't the only one who have taken issue with KOSA, with many teenagers voicing their opinions as they listen to the hearing on Discord, with one posting, "These senators don't actually care about protecting kids, they just want to control information." Right? And that idea is part of the opposition to KOSA, with more than 100 human rights and LGBTQ groups having spoken out against it, along with First Amendment lawyers and organizations focused on protecting free speech, arguing that KOSA would just further endanger minors and place pretty hefty restrictions on free speech and expression. But that's not all. Another big topic of discussion during the hearing was Section 230. Right in that, because Section 230 protects online service providers like them from lawsuits over what's posted on their platforms. And it notably, so far, has survived court challenges, legal pushes, and hell, even an executive order. But at this hearing, we...
Do you know what that is, right?
230?
Yeah.
No, I think that's, I've never heard that.
To kind of give a layman's man's kind of explanation, because I'm not 100%. It's just like, we'll just do a simple example. So what we were just talking about before, the YouTube video of the decapitation thing. YouTube would not get be responsible for what happened there. They are not responsible for what gets posted there. The individual does. But if they remove this regulation or law, then YouTube is responsible for that. Okay.
I kind of understand it. I think it's kind of crazy. Like, I'm gonna blame the social site for this thing. Like the last incident where the guy decapitated his father. We don't think it was YouTube's fault. YouTube just happened to be posting the video, not knowing what was going on. So I kind of get it. I kind of get it on that side. They need to have the safe net, because if we don't have a safety net for these medias, because it's for you and I to be conversing, this is our way of texting each other back and forth, and that would, like, if I said I wanted to, hypothetically, it's never going to happen because I can't.
Well, okay. Everything moving forward is hypothetical. Continue.
Hypothetical. like I was gonna hurt somebody, murder somebody. Like I'm on a rampage, you know.
And like, oh my God, what, Liz? You really do? Oh my. Like, what do you need?
It really, that me invoking what I feel does not mean that site is responsible for my actions. That's not true. That's me personally taking that on my decisions to go ahead and unalive somebody. You know what I mean? Like, but I wouldn't do that. It's just not me.
Exactly.
I can't basically do that.
But yeah, it's one of those things. Yeah, I can see it from that point. But it's also the other thing where some people do use social media to spread these things that do harm, stuff like that. People who use YouTube, Twitter, all these different social medias to spread this stuff to, like you said yourself, like you were getting harassed consistently, and there was no real help, right? So why not finally, like, hey, my whatever site that was, you have not done anything, you'll get in trouble for it, you know? So
which I think it should, you know, but that was, you know, 10 plus years ago, and it's not worth the fight now. But I mean, because obviously I could block somebody on, you know, our other one that we use and be like, I have no problem with it. It stops them. I have that stop. But, you know, when it was that last place, it was and I was even reporting them multiple times, like back to back, every 5 minutes, literally 5 minutes. But later, they'd be back to the harassment. So.
Bruh.
all right,
Didn't stop them.
Sad. All right, let's continue.
Mm-hmm.
We saw senators once again taking aim at it. Senator Dick Durbin saying in his opening remarks that Congress should share the blame with tech companies for failing to protect children online, saying,
the past 30 years, Section 230 has remained largely unchanged, allowing big tech to grow into the most profitable industry in the history of capitalism without fear of liability for unsafe practices. That has to change.
You also had Lindsey Graham adding to that.
Social media companies, as they are currently designed and operate, are dangerous products. They're destroying lives, threatening democracy itself. These companies must be reined in, or the worst is yet to come.
And of the tech CEOs, he said,
of all the people in America we could give blanket liability protection to, this would be the last group I would pick. It is now time to repeal Section 230.
But then all of that brings us back to how we opened this. What we saw yesterday was a mixture of understandable and important grilling and circus. But what about actual change? Right, congressional hearings on social media have become like a nearly annual event for years. While yesterday people got clips and viral moments, what about actual legislation or even fucking movement towards legislation? Because like the times before, we left this hearing without an immediately clear resolution or plan of action. And I found myself agreeing with something that Dave Pell wrote about this, with him saying, I'm glad to see pressure on the platforms to be safer, especially for kids. It was good to see Zuckerberg apologize to the families who have been harmed by Meta's lax oversight, saying, I hope Congress surprises us and gets a decent law passed. But then adding, but it's just a complete farce to watch some of these congressional clowns using the hearing to make themselves go viral on the very same platforms they're attacking and the ones they use to spread the lies, disinformation, and personal attacks that are destroying the fabric of our country. It's nauseating to listen to some of these dysfunctional blowhards, enablers, insurrection supporters, and democracy sellouts who can barely keep the nation's light on, much less pass legislation, spending the day trolling the heads of the social networks they utterly failed to regulate. Yes, a fucking 1,000 times yes. Because if there is blood on the hands of these social media CEOs, there is also a measure of blood on the hands of Congress. And depending on the individual Congress members, a different amount of blood. And then I would like...
Okay, let's give us 1 second, everyone. So what are your thoughts kind of with the whole thing and kind of the conclusion?
Quote was right on the nose, right on the nose. Like that's exactly how I would feel right now. That's how I feel, and that's the fact that that's somebody could actually quote it and say it verbatim how I feel, and exactly how it is in America right now. It is absolutely true.
Yeah, it's wild. Yeah,
we're always gonna have not backstabbers, but we're just like hypocrites. They're just hypocrites. They're just. It is. Yeah. This is our world right now. That's truly it. We're going to use the same platform, attack these people, but we're going to come back and then spread lies and disinformation. And we're gonna get the hype and the views right now.
Okay. That's how it is, huh? That's a little disappointing. That is disappointing.
Right? America always use that as the second leverage, right?
So, yeah, I feel with you on that point as well. It's just it feels kind of conspiratorial when it comes to things like that because of how wild I can get. Because as much as there's yelling, there's a lot of prodding and things like that. There's some good things that happen. People saw the impact. But it's really like what's really going to be done, if anything, right? That's the truth. That's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
That's the truth. So I think those are kind of our final thoughts. I think we have enough time for one more story, and I think
one more story. What's that?
Let's get the Florida one because let's end with a fun, wild one.
Florida. That sounds great.
I'll let you read this one.
All right, I was going to.
Oh, okay. It's spicy right now. Maybe that's good for this story.
Yeah. Central Florida mom banned from dropping off kids at school because of OnlyFans decal.
We've talked about a lot of like OnlyFans parents and families getting harassed. But what happened here?
A mom in Central Florida has been banned from dropping her children off at a private Christian school because of an ad for her OnlyFans account on her vehicle. Okay, it's a private school. Understandable. Michelle Klein of Traverse City, about an hour northwest of Orlando, has told local media outlets that her kids' school is making her park in a parking lot across the street, forcing the children to cross a busy road to go down the sidewalk and through the school's parking lot just to get to class. That is unless she removes the decal from the adult content website of her car. It's not just a tiny, tiny emblem on the back of the car. It's taking up the entire windshield, said parent Lexi Thomas, back windshield of 2 vehicles. Thomas is a parent at Liberty Christian Preparatory School who wants Klein's ad on her car to stay off campus. She's one of several moms and dads who have been sharing messages and complaints on social media, which has been taking the front pew of a private Christian school. It's definitely linked to, explicit content, Klein said, adult content for sure. Klein, who goes by the moniker Piper Fawn online, said her OnlyFans is her business and way of life. My husband and I had this little wild, behind closed doors lifestyle that we've now decided to share, she said. But now all Liberty Christian school parents want what Klein is sharing at school.
Wait, what?
But not all. Okay, sorry, my bad. But not all Liberty Christian parents want what Klein is sharing at school. Some mothers are complaining to her and the school, telling Klein not to use the main entrance and instead drop her kids off across the street. I was forced to have to take it off or could not come on campus, Klein said. But other parents say there's a simple solution. If she wanted to use the main drop-off, take off the decal. And that one seems like an easy thing for me to say for sure, she said. But for me, it's a support to my family. This provides a very comfortable way of life for us.
Okay.
Do you want me to continue?
I think for the most part, we get it. So
yeah.
So what are your initial thoughts?
I kind of get it. I kind of get it from that perspective. But
are you?
How many? Hold on.
Oh, okay.
Let me finish my thought.
Okay.
But how many of them are actually looking at her website?
That's true.
I mean, you think about it. It's like, oh, well, I mean, we get it. Like, some of the snobby parents are probably those because their spouses are on it watching this happening. I mean, like, I get it that they don't want any more advertisement. I get it for the sake of the children that they shouldn't be advertising. They can take it off one vehicle. And, if you want to use the main drop off. I get it from that perspective. Like,
I agree. I from what I've been reading and kind of what the little last bit of section it is their way to earn money. It gets taxed. It is a job. We won't deny that. We've always agreed that these types of jobs are their jobs. You know, if you're working for it, you go for it. You know, you do you. The thing that gets me, and I think what's a little bit annoying and why I'm a little bit more against her, is that she's very against it without really any what's the word I want to say, compromising. Like you said, she could just take it off one vehicle and just use that vehicle, and not, because one, it's a private location. It is a place for children. School. So it's like
for children, exactly.
And
are we really? It seems like we're advertising to the children. We really aren't supposed to be advertising this to the children. Like, so your mom does that. Screw that. Whatever. But like, it shouldn't be advertised at school. And those kids, you know. Again, what we say. Oh, I'm 18. Click. Yes, I'm 21. Click. You know.
Exactly. And I feel so bad for the kid, whoever their child is. Like, that's the other thing. Like, yeah. It's one of those things like, oh man, I saw your mom last night. Like that.
Yeah, it's an embarrassment. Yeah, on that part, because I feel sorry for the kids. But then they go like, but I'm able to go to a nice school. I have nice clothes. I have, you know, shoes on my feet, a roof over my head, like, and food in my belly. Like, you're really gonna complain how your parent gets that money? Like,
Liz, come on. We both were kids. We don't think about that. You think about what other people think about us. What other kids think of us. That's a sad thing. It's like, you should be thinking about that. Bullying
is incessant. They should be going after those kids for bullying those kids, huh?
Yeah, they're not gonna do that. Yeah, like I'm more for, at this point, I'm more for the other parents than her. Like, I get what she's trying to do. Where like normally I would be for her, but she's just not compromising enough for this. Like they told her, just remove the decal. Like, I get it.
It's one vehicle. Just take it off one vehicle. Make that the designated vehicle. I'm taking my kids to school in this vehicle. Like,
and if you make good money, then just buy one more vehicle at that point, right?
Exactly. This will be the designated kids vehicle. Like, we'll take the kids to vehicles, but we're going to the grocery store. I'm taking that vehicle. I'm going to the mall. I'm using that kid. I'm going to the adult store. Yeah, so there it is. But I mean, like, be reasonable here. Be reasonable.
Yeah,
I get it. But at the same time, like, yeah, I kind of understand where these parents are coming from.
Exactly. So
I'm not dissing on the job. Just
a person.
Probably for this. Just the respect of the institution, I guess, and the families that, you know, kids see this, like, yeah. Like, yeah,
you wouldn't want your kid to be seeing, like, oh, yeah.
I saw your mom last night. Come on. No.
Bruh.
All right, then, everyone. That's how we're going to close that one off. Everyone, thank you for joining us for this week. Like always, let us know down in the comments what were some of your interesting stories. You can trauma dump down there if you're watching this on YouTube or Spotify. If anything, you can follow us on our social medias, and you can tweet at us, TikTok on a link, tag us, and
Instagram.
Let us know anything. So yeah, everyone, thanks again for listening or watching. Until next time, see ya.
Bye.